Alrighty, so on day 6, we started out super early. We drove to a place called Bet Shean, and we got there early before the park, we'll call it, opened up. And Bet Shean, if you look up the history from a biblical perspective, was the place that after Saul died and threw himself on his own sword, that they took his body and hung him up outside the walls. The unique thing about this site was the fact that there were so many ancient landmarks, I'll call them. There was an amphitheater there. There was some awesome pillars. There were just all kinds of ancient ruins everywhere. And there was even a place where they would call this the Vegas of Israel, because there was a place where you can literally tell there's artifacts going back to where people would gamble all the time at Bet Shean. So when we were done with Bet Shean, we honestly drove a lot this day. So we drove all the way up. The goal was eventually to get ourselves to a place called Mount Gerazim, and on the top of Mount Gerazim. This required almost an hour and a half to 2 hours of driving. And the goal once we got there was to visit a very small remnant of the Samaritan tribe. To get up to Mount Gerazim, we had to honestly go through some pretty hairy sections of the land that weren't quite all the safest, but we made it, luckily. Once we got up to Mount Gerazim, we actually went to a Samaritan museum. If you don't know anything about the Samaritans, you probably have heard of this phrase, being a good Samaritan, and that's where the people of Samaria come from. There used to be millions of people that were called Samaritans, but now there's only a few hundred left that live up at the top of Mount Gerazim and then down closer to Tel Aviv. We heard a priest talk about the scrolls.
Samaritans, they are not Muslims, they are not Christians, and they are not Jewish. This is the priest. His brother is the high priest, by the way. He's the manager of this community, and he's the religion researcher.
God bless you, I say.
Thank you.
Please, the first, I cannot speak English like my friend. We learned from me, but now I learn from you. Why I make like this? This is 5 fingers, this is 5 books. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Number, Deuteronomy. ويودي باري ما إله شرعانك أمسابك أيما اللي بابك عشان ننتمى البانك ودبر طاب ما أفشبتك وبيت أبليكتك بديرك بشكابك وفقومك ويودي باري ما إله شرعانك أمسابك أيما اللي بابك.
He lives, Christ Jesus lives today.
Honestly, this place was a place where my pastor was really excited about going, and he really geeked out on this place. After we went to this Samaritan museum, we hiked even further up to Mount Gerazim to the very top that overlooked a place where we could actually see Jacob's ladder and Jacob's well from the very top of this mountain. We couldn't actually go down into the valley because that's where it was super dangerous to go. So once we were done at the top of Mount Gerazim, we drove a super long time, about 2 hours. I say it's a super long time. We drove what would then set up the rest of our entire trip of Israel, and we went to Jerusalem. And the first place we went to see in Jerusalem was we went to see the Mount of Olives that overlooks the Valley of Kidron and looks onto the city of Jerusalem. This was honestly a very iconic place. We were playing some really cool songs in the background the entire time when we went up there. So it was really exciting to be on the Mount of Olives and to see everything there. It was really, really special. One of the most perplexing things to me, I think, was the fact that what we as Christians consider very sacred and religious is a lot of people's neighborhoods. We drove at one point really right past, on the Mount of Olives, there was like kids out playing soccer in a soccer field. It was crazy. But honestly, part of this trip that was very exciting was the fact that the people we went with, and that was the people of Southern Hills Baptist Church of Las Vegas. There was 4 teens. I caught one of them sleeping in the back bus, so check this out as we end the video today. Stay tuned to tomorrow for more updates.
On the back right, the city of David, outside the walls.